divide between professors and students. I think that the professors have most of the authority when it comes to everything in the classroom or what's going to go on. And I think it's pretty much we follow what they set, and I don't really think we have much of a say on what goes on.
I mean, I think there's always going to be some level of divide, only because anytime you have somebody in a position of authority, there is going to be that divide. You can't be at the same level and also be the one that has to make the tough decisions.
From my own perspective, usually if there's any divide, it's maybe self-chosen. Some students just don't want to get to know you. They are, especially in my case where the class is very large, students are happy to sit somewhere at a distance and leave the relationship at that.
Our professors are more likely to gain my respect if, like I said before, the enthusiasm for the class, like if they make it an inviting classroom.
We come here to learn, so I mean the respect should come from each side. We need to respect the professors since that they gained more knowledge than us, but in the same time I think that the professor should also pay respect for his students.
I think that you should have more of an academic relationship with your professors rather than any other relationship, just so you feel comfortable asking them questions if you have any questions or things like that. I don't really have any relationships with any of my professors here.
No, I don't think this is a good idea to have students separate from the professor. I mean, we should have a friendship between us, which will make our study easier and make their job work easier. I took one class in Purdue, which is Com 114, and I got a very nice professor, and we built a good friendship, and it makes me want to learn more about that course. The professor from my Com class, we went to the same church, so sometimes we talk to each other during the mass on Sunday. And then I think it's just some events you went together, and then you just build your friendship in that event.
It's all the effort that you put into it. So if you're not going to put in effort to have a relationship, then you're probably not going to get a relationship. So just in class, answering questions or showing up. The access you have with the professor is really important because if they do answer the emails and get back to your questions, you're more likely to succeed.
I would say being available is important. Trying not to set up any barriers so that anyone from any perspective would feel comfortable coming in and talking.
To me, trying to learn their names as quickly as possible is a huge deal. I feel like not knowing their names is problematic, and so one of my ultimate goals is to try to learn all their names.
It's hard for international students to build a relationship with professor, and I think it's the same case for native speakers also.
But not only is there diversity among a number of the aspects you mentioned, but among learners as well. There's diversity in terms of computer science previous experiences. Some students come in with lots of programming, some with almost none, and you just try to shoot somewhere in the middle and to take in as many people as you can.
Try to make the teaching and learning in the education environment accessible to a wide variety of students from the start.
I'm an international student. Sometimes I feel it's hard for us to communicate with the professors since they're busy all the time.
With 30, it's hard for me to get around and talk to everybody. I tend to more interact with the ones that come to me if they have questions.
We're looking at trying to make the time we do meet together more interactive and letting students do the more mundane things, I guess you could say, on their own. So if I'm going to provide presentations, or what you might know now as lectures, those might move online. We'll ask students to view those on their own, and things that we maybe do now in lab, like book problems, we might do more in class. So there'll be more times for demonstrations, more time for interaction. So let's do the more interactive things together with the expert in the classroom, the teacher, and the less exciting things on your own.
I do a lot of walking around in my classes. I do a lot of hands-on. I don't do a lot of upfront lecturing. I do a lot of hands-on activities. It's the nature of my courses and my philosophy of teaching. And so in that way I get to do more interaction because I have them working usually in groups of 3 to 5, and therefore I come around and I talk to them about what they're doing and the decisions they're making. Being able to have some personal connection, and I think being able to recognize that students are changing and trying to make sure that you can somewhat connect to the changes that they're experiencing. And I like to try to get to my classes early to try to talk to students, hear what they're talking about with each other.
I think as someone who teaches computer science, you would think you'd spend more time behind the machine, but I also feel like I try to move around, and even during the lecture quizzes at the beginning, you can learn a lot by starting the quiz and walking around the room just hearing what people think.